I am struggling to get these videos done. I am just really busy right now. And taking care of business all day. Qualified today. Obviously, I waited to do our top everything list. I just ran down everybody, the turnouts, and won through 43 horses we have racing right now. 43 horses racing. I run through 1 through 43. I didn't really want to do that because that's not fair to everybody. You know, your horse lands on like 41st. You're like, this sucks. But let me be very clear for everybody. Well, one thing, See You in Tuscany would have landed on 41st this winter, and he's now number 3 and could easily be number 1. Twinsburg was in the 40s. These horses are either starting back, trying to find their way, or on the verge of maybe being turned out after a couple of more tighteners. You guys have to understand also, our job is to find the best form of every one of these horses, the best form. So we want to put the right amount of work into them, right amount of preparation into them, and not overwork them, exert them, and make them hate their work, so that even when we turn them out, they come back and they're just a bitter form of what we hoped they could be. So, and some horses just aren't good. You know, we all know that. We're all adults here. You know, we're not going to break 50-some horses and every one of them are going to be nice horses. I think we've had an incredibly lucky and fortunate run in 2018 thus far with all our horses. And, you know, I look at some of the horses I have the most respect for. If you look at the racehorse barns, you look at a horse like Master Saver. He's not going to make a ton of money, but I have a lot of fun racing him because he loves his work. He's just a mediocre horse that wants to be a better horse. And he might be someday. He might find his way. I'll eat these words. I've stuck up for Road Tripper for a very long time and told you he's going to be a good horse. I think he's going to be an incredibly good horse as a 4-year-old. We're going to try and close out his 3-year-old season, get some more work into him, and then if it comes time to turn him out, we're simply going to turn him out. And that's our job. What we're trying to build here is something big. You know, we're trying to build a barn full of really good horses, but we can't all have top-class horses all the time. We can't all have... I don't own any of See You in Tuscany. I don't own any of Oso Pine. You know, I don't own any of a lot of our good horses. Stonebridge Simba, I own none of him. The vast majority of our horses I don't own any of because you've bought all the shares off of me. But having said that, I'm just watching messages come in. I've a million people messaging me. Having said that, we all want to have fun. We all want to see our horses win. We all want to see them hit the winner's circle. We'd all love to see win stake races with them. But the reality of it is we're not all going to be able to win stake races. We're not all going to be able to win races. But hopefully, at the end of the day, we have the best form of each horse available. That would be my goal. If you were to ask me, my goal is to put a barn full of productive horses on the track that can win all different sorts of races. And my job, our job, is to make sure that we get the horses in where they can be productive, where they can win races. And that's always our hope. So, having said that, we talked about what went on with the lawmaker situation in an earlier video. By the way, I just found out it's Monday afternoon. He drew 4, I think, and his morning line odds are 8-1 in the Hambletonian with Dave Miller. So that's fantastic news for everybody, especially lawmaker. I don't believe the draw is done yet for... by the time you see this video, the draw will be done, so it won't matter. Waiting to see the draw on White Tiger also. Haven't seen it yet. So, a lot of storylines going on this week. Obviously, there was a lot of kerfuffle made about me picking off Lawmaker and resigning the drive to Dave Miller. I think it was the right thing to do, and it's done. We also talked about all the stables. Kevin's barn, a little cold last week with some sickness, trying to bounce back into form this week. Talked about Jason's barn, is white hot, on fire right now. Talked about Ricky's barn. Now Ricky had a big booster this morning. Dance Hall Babe, we put the hobbles on her. She made a break last Friday. Made a break again at the gate. She's just not quite comfortable at the gate. The problem is that switching of the gears. So as that gate speeds up, those horses have to be able to accelerate through their gears and hit top gear, or just take your time with them. But she's an Angus Hall, so she wants to get at it. Just for a few strides out of the gate is a problematic time for her, and she made breaks in both her last 2 starts. So we put the hobbles on her this morning to give her a little, put her training wheels back on her to give her a little bit of help. I qualified her quite handily, quite easily. She won the qualifier by 7 lengths. Last half in a mile and 1:58 and 2 or 3. Last half in 58 and a bit. Last quarter in 29 seconds. Dance Hall Babe was all business this morning. Very, very good mile this morning out of her. So that's a good help for Ricky. Just got picked off with Time Al Houdini at the wire in the gold the other night. Another Ricky trainee. So Ricky's burn's getting a little hotter, starting to heat up. Harry's burn, obviously Sunshine's finest, maintenance man, Warwee Ultra. A few little sick horses in the middle there, but some good horses coming back. Screaming Hawk got roughed up a little bit the other night. But other than that, it all went well. And who's that? Ricky, Kevin, Jason. Ricky, Kevin, Jason, Harry. That's all of them. So, we went through all the stables, through all the race horses. Now I'm going to give you a little rundown. I told you I'm in my black book is all the information, all the babies, everything. It's on my phone, but I can't pull it off my phone as I'm talking to you. So I wrote them all down in some sort of order. Obviously the top 10's the top 10. The rest of them are kind of a mixed bag. I kind of made a few little mistakes in where I put the horses and where I thought they needed to be, but for the most part they're in a good spot. A lot of the horses near the end of the list are just horses coming back. RV LeBron, Better Call Mike. The Butler Did It was sick and did not have an opportunity to race under Paul Kelly. We're bringing him back home. I haven't told the owners yet, but they're going to find out soon enough. I screwed up, and when the horse went to New York and then went to Paul's, the lady in New York gave me a package. In this package was the health papers to get him back across the border when we were taking him back home, and I lost them. So we have to re-pull blood work on the Butler Did It. My error, I'll pay for that. We're getting the blood work done, so the Butler Did It won't be home as quickly as we thought he would. It's going to take about another week, which is frustrating for everybody, I'm sure, and nobody's fault but my own. I apologize. That went squarely on my shoulders. I looked everywhere today. I could not find that package. I couldn't find it anywhere. So anyway, it's done. Butler, there's a horse obviously he didn't get a chance to race, so it's unfair, but he's near the end of the list. Ready for the Beach, raced better the other night. He finds himself near the end of the list. Boldness, Ivanka, these are horses that are either just came back in or just holding on. All the way down, she's number 43. Mr. Caper, I took him off the list. We talked about what had gone on with the Mr. Caper situation, and very unfortunate, but that's that. And then we have the turnouts. So why don't we just start quickly with the turnouts. Stolen Dance is going to be out for another little while. I want to really let this filly, give her the whole summer to fill out and mature, because she wants to do her work, and I want to give her every opportunity to do it. Cash In On Me's been out for a little while. He's going to be out for a little while longer. Obviously another horse we want to let mature. Dancing on My Own, she should actually be coming back in the next 3-4 weeks. Wanted to give her lots of time to fill out, but also want to get her back working a little bit. Maxwell Plum had just injured himself, bruised that left hind leg. I talked about this in Jason's burn. Bruised his left hind leg racing. Couldn't get him right. Couldn't get him completely right, and decided to turn him out. You know, that bruise was becoming pesky, a problem. It had got some heat in it after he trained again. Not certain there's not more than a bruise there, but they did ultrasound it and found nothing. But for me, the old rule of thumb is pretty easy as far as horsemen go. Where there's smoke, there's fire, and we're not going to play with that fire. So Maxwell Plum is out for a little while. Quartz Blue Chip also giving her time to grow up. This is a filly that mentally was getting it towards the end of her training, but physically just wasn't there yet. So we gave her a little more time off, or a little time off. She's probably going to be out till September 1st, I would think. Tomorrow's Headline turned this big colt out. He was just too big and clunky. Did school him and qualify him 59, 58, something like that. Looked good doing it, but when you get the grassroots going in 54, what are you going to do, hurt him? You're going to hurt him to try and win a grassroots event? No thanks. So we turned him out to let him mature. Cruising with Angus, just bad timing for this guy. Got a little colicky about 3 weeks ago. We had to scratch him. Then he gets sick and we had to scratch him. Then we tried to qualify him back. And when you look at the horses we raced last night, in the Battle of Waterloo eliminations in the Battle of the Bells specifically. Those fillies had almost 2.5 weeks and still could not shake that last little bit of the virus. Going to maybe put them on something to really clean them up and clean that mucus out of their airways over the next week. But Angus just couldn't shake it either, and it was just bad timing. You know, he's got that right front foot that bothers him when you shoe him. We got him shod, we qualified him. He was abysmal at the qualifier, had snot pouring at him. I said, no, that's enough. Last thing we want to do is put this colt in a position where he's broken his confidence and he has none left. So we want to make sure he comes back good. Long life for old Angus. He's going to be a nice horse for us. So we decided to pull the shoes, pull the harness, and give him the rest of the summer off. Be My Delight, another unfortunate incident with the getting cast in the stall and hurting that left hind. Just going to give her some time off. She seems fine now, I guess, in the field. She's running and playing. Going to give her time for those knees that bothered her and those feet that bothered her to cool down, and bring her back as a later on in the summer or early fall, maybe first part of September, get her back in and get her working. And then Stonebridge Loyal, we all know about Loyal. Her knees definitely bothered her, her feet bothered her a bit. A few little aches and pains, but she was more than willing to do her work with it. We just don't want to put her in a position where we're going to hurt her. So we gave her also the rest of the summer off. So those are the horses turned out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 horses out in the field right now out of 53. Not a bad ratio. So those are all the turnouts. I will now run through the top 43. Not in any particular order. I don't get too beat up if your horse, you figured it's around 20 some and he ends up coming in at 30 some. I was doing this rough. Some of it out of my head, some of it off my phone. It's really not that fair. I think the top 10 list is a top 10 list, but outside of that, it's a bit of a mixed bag for the most part. Mostly right, but could be wrong a little bit. So let's start with number one. Number one, easily in my mind, White Tiger. Racing in the Houghton eliminations coming up this weekend, this Saturday at the Meadowlands. White Tiger qualified unbelievably good the other day. 56-2, last 3 quarters trotted in 1:23-4. Not many horses can do that. I would suspect the guy that's come in right behind him at some point will do that, but he hasn't yet. So White Tiger is in the Houghton. Fast colt. You know, a proud member of TheStable.ca, and we're very lucky to have him. He is coming in at number 1. Number 2, Swandre the Giant. I know I've been a little leery, and I didn't put Swandre on the list a lot of time, and I was very sheepish because, you know, truth be told, he's not our horse anymore. We developed him. We trained him down. Brandon Bates has him now, and he has Bay Jewel for us also. So maybe he is an affiliate trainer now. Maybe we do have Brandon Bates on the payroll. But Swandre the Giant is Swandre the Giant's a good colt, undefeated. You can easily make an argument for him to be number 1. Undefeated in Indiana, really putting a beating on them down there and making them like it. And really happy for the guys that own him. Easily number 2. Well, not easily. See you in Tuscany. He's undefeated in Ohio. He's number 3 with a mark of 153 and what, 42,000 made in Ohio. The only reason we didn't race him in the Ohio Breeders last week, he wasn't eligible. We didn't pay him into it. So I think the fact that he has a threshold for earning potential this year, which is really a feather in his cap, because when we put this colt away, he's going to be really fresh and he's going to come back really sharp. So See You in Tuscany drives easily into slot number 3. Again, another horse you can make an argument for being undefeated, defeated once in his life, and that was finishing second in an overnight event where I got away 4 light years away from the front end, and he came flying 26 seconds on the end of it to finish second. So beaten once in his life, never beaten outside of Canada, never beaten in Ohio. See You in Tuscany easily number 3 on my list. Number 4 on my list, Oh So Pine. Oh So Pine has got another horse defeated once. This was in Ohio, though. The reason he is in number 4. 3 wins and a second in his life. I don't know, 50-some thousand made, and an emphatic, crushing victory the other night in Ohio. Driving away winner, fastest mile of the night for trotters in the Ohio Breeders, or Ohio State Fair, whatever they call it. Oh So Pine was fantastic last week and has been a very, very good horse for TheStable.ca so far. Number 5, Twinsburg. Twinsburg, also another filly. first and second in Ohio in the two divisions there. Very, very nice filly in her own right. Jason had qualified both CU and Tuscany and Twinsburg together, finished 1-2 in Ohio in the slop this morning. Dan Noble went with CU and Tuscany. Ken Holiday maybe went with Twinsburg. I hope I got his name right. I apologize if I didn't. So Twinsburg, easily number 5. Number 6, not easily. Well, yes, easily. But Springbridge Proud looked some good the other day, didn't he? Wow. For those of you who missed the race, he won by about 8 football fields in 154 flat in Pennsylvania at the Meadows. Just a crushing victory and looked tremendous doing it. Man, oh man, we always knew he was fast. I mean, he raced great. He gained all my respect the night that he won at Georgian Downs with 2 different shoes on up front and his foot pouring blood from a quarter crack. He gained all the respect in the world from me that night and looked pretty damn good the other night winning at the Meadows. He drives into number 6. Number 7, probably our best horse overall. Maybe. If not, very close. Sunshine's Finest. This is a freak of nature. Finished second, third, closing. Fastest first quarter and last quarter the other night in 151 and a piece. His own mile, 151 and 4 for a 2-year-old pacing colt. Last quarter in 27 seconds. This is a serious, serious animal. We took our time with him. I put my foot down and decided we are not racing this colt in the Battle of Waterloo on the half-mile track or the Gold that will be following that Battle of Waterloo on a half-mile track. We're not going to take our chances. I talked about this colt in the barns of Harry's barn. Why we're not taking him to the halves. I don't want to risk this colt's future. It's just too bright. And for me, number 7 just goes to show you what kind of horses we have. When Sunshine's Finest is coming in at number 7. Number 7, Sunshine's Finest. Number 8, Time All Houdini. Second, beat a neck in both his first 2 starts in the stake races in Ontario. 2 gold second place finishes in 2 races, and raced tremendous the other night, running in the whole way down lane. Think we got a handle on that. We'll have that patched up for his next race, which I believe is at Mohawk, if I'm not mistaken. Time All Houdini, a serious competitor in his own right, comes in at number 8. Number 9, West 52nd, second in his last 2 gold or Ohio Sire outings in Ohio. Oh, no, sorry. He was second in the Ohio Breeders the other night, a different division, but the same stake race at Osopine won. This colt finished second in 58. Come from a way back to finish second, race great again. The start before that, he was second in the Sires. So we need a couple of good outings out of him to get him into the final of the Sires, because this is a serious competitor too. Just a beautiful horse. I like this horse. I like what he's doing, and I like how he's doing it. And I think this is going to be a really, really good horse. Keep in mind, this colt, Osopine, White Tiger, a number of other ones are paid into multiple Grand Circuit events later on in the year, not excluding, of course, the Breeders' Crown. And I know there's a lot of people out there saying, just hold your horses. You know, he's second in Ohio. Don't kid yourself. This colt's no slob. He's a nice horse. And him, Osopine, White Tiger, they're not going to shy away from any speed. There might be some freaks out there, but the funny thing is they don't give the Breeders' Crown money to the fastest horse of the year. They give the Breeders' Crown money to the horse that can win the Breeders' Crown. And for me, I think we got some horses that are shaping up and looking like they might belong there. This horse may not be there yet, but he's knocking on the door. He's a serious horse. He's going to be a serious contender in Ohio, and hopefully have a bright fall for his owners also, because I really like this colt. Number 9, West 52nd. Number 10, the other Time All colt hit the top 10 finally. Time All Tulo. Time All Tulo looked tremendous the other night. Overshadowed. He finished 3rd, but trotted a full second faster than Time All Houdini, I believe. 157 and a bit. Still interfering, brushing his knees a little bit. Not a big deal. We can get him out of that. I think with a few little shoeing changes, we can fix that. So Time All Tulo is really, really close to breaking out. Looked awesome the other night. Finished 3rd. He was fair. He was beaten fair and square. Fair and square, the horse in the front laid a beating on him. But he did fight hard to the wire and hung on for 3rd. Trotted in 57. I would suggest probably last quarter in 29 seconds. And looked good doing it. So those are your top 10. I got a couple little things to take care of here. So I'm going to cut it off the top 10. I'm going to come back and I'm going to give you everybody else. We talked about the turnouts. We have 33 horses to talk about here. I'm going to run through the whole list, what I think of them, where they're headed, what they're doing, and what they've done. So, be back in just a minute with the last 33 horses that are racing right now as 2-year-olds at TheStable.ca.